fence is halfway in the water.
You're in this path. Make sure to get to your safe place now.
We are making our way back home. By we, I mean you, me, and this giant zit on my head. We only have about 1,000 miles left now. Should take just a few days. There is currently a tornado in Missouri. So I've moved my route south to try and get a little further from it. But it looks like I'll still get the storms from it. And it's already started last night. Kept me up all night, the thunder. It may be moving further south, so I hope it doesn't go closer to me because I really don't have anywhere else to go except the ocean. Oopsie! It's not the first time I've ridden the rain. I'm sure it won't be the last. Wish me luck. All right, back into the rain.
By yourself?
Just right now. I've been meeting friends along the way. Okay, so that little dot is where I am. And that's the rain. So it looks like by moving my route, it was originally gonna go right through that, and I just shifted it down. It looks like I might be able to keep on dodging it. Never mind. So if you're wondering why I'm riding through a downpour and trying to dodge a tornado instead of just sitting at home like a good little girl, I'll explain. 5 weeks ago, I set on my first cross-country trip. From east to west, I crossed the country in 7 days to make it to a specialized training with famous GS Trophy rider Jocelyn Snow. I am now on my way back home to Atlanta, taking about a month to get there as I stopped at a bunch of unique locations, such as the town with no laws, an abandoned ghost mining town.
So if you're ever walking through the desert and you see like a tobacco tin nailed to a piece of wood, it might have like a really old piece of paper inside of it that shows like whose mine that was back in the day.
And just about anything that piqued my interest. I'll link to the 12 video series in a playlist below. On the way there, the problems were dust storms, winds so powerful they knocked down semis, and blizzards for the first time in California in decades. And now, passing back through, the center of US is like a wall of obstacles, like a test to make sure you're worthy of the finish line. It tested me with dust storms on the way there, and this time, it was testing me with tornadoes. There's actually a scientific reason why this happens in the center of US, and something for you to know if you ever find yourself crossing the country.
Tornado Alley exists at the confluence of 3 geographic weather systems. Coming in from the north is a front of cold, dry air from Canada. From the southwest is a gust of hot, dry air from the Mojave Desert. And from the southeast is a heavy dose of warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico. As these 3 combine, they create the exact circumstances that a tornado needs. No other region in the world has all 3 required ingredients to make a tornado as prominently as the United States.
And now, where were we? Oh yes, right about here. I don't normally pull over just for rain, but I could not see. Like I literally couldn't see the lights of the cars in front of me. And I don't know if it's just the rain or my visor fogging up because this is a dual sport helmet. It doesn't have a pin lock, it can't fit the pin lock. So it fogs up in the rain. I took off the visor because I was going to be doing highway riding. But I definitely don't recommend this XD4 that Itchy Boots uses if you do a lot of highway riding. I should have brought my Corsair X. Both my gloves have water inside.
You're in this path. Make sure to get to your safe place now.
It looks like I'm just riding through scattered bits, but it looks like what I'm riding through, insanely enough, is actually like the least of it. So I think I'll keep going, but I don't think I'll get very far. I was hoping to get to Barber Motorsports. That is the biggest motorcycle museum in the world, and I wanted to make a video there. They're closed on Sundays, and I'm not sure that I'm gonna make it there on Saturday now. I'll just keep going and go back and forth between pulling over if it's really bad and then going again. But okay, this is probably as clear as it's gonna get for a while, so let's go. Oh no. I was using this as a pocket for my fudge. And it's full of water in there. Ew, that's the brownie. No, R.I.P. brownie. Literally my route. Bike is all packed up. We've got a nice window of no rain and just overcast right now, so good time to start heading out. All my gear I was wearing yesterday is still a little bit damp. One of the things, many things I ran out of on this trip is coins, and the washer and dryer here are only operated by coins. So I couldn't dry my stuff, and just leaving it on the AC didn't dry it enough, but it's not soaking wet, it's just a little damp. So hopefully tonight or today I'll have better luck. Doesn't look like it. We're only like 740 miles from home, so I'm ready to get back to my bed, to my dog, to my Cody, to my food. And it kept fogging up yesterday, even when I left it cracked open. But some people recommended toothpaste, so I tried that today, so we'll see if that works. So I'm riding down this road and I'm looking around, seeing all this water like right up on the road's edge, thinking, wow, like really swampy around here. And then I see some houses that look like they're surrounded by water. I'm like, huh. And then I'm thinking, I don't think this is intentional. I think this is from flooding. This fence is halfway in the water.
Okay, and the church will be open for Easter services.
Well, I stopped again. It's getting really hard to see. So I'm really close to home. I'm only like not even 3 hours away. I am just under 100 miles from home, and I went to a hotel. Water had just gotten through my rain suit. My layers of clothes underneath the rain jacket were wet. I've pulled over at a rest stop, tried to change some of my tops, but one of the sweaters was still damp. I was just trying to get warm, and after I waited there for 40 minutes, my feet were still cold. Traffic was getting worse. It was supposed to take an hour and a half to get home. It was saying 2 hours, and then finally when it was saying 2.5 hours, and it was still so cold and I was wet, that's when I just decided to find a hotel. So I'm gonna leave home to get home in the morning. So I figured out why my feet couldn't get warm even after waiting at the Georgia Center for 40 minutes yesterday. My boots are a little damp, and they still are this morning. So I got some plastic baggies. If I had my freeze out socks, that'd probably be enough, but I left those at home. But I'm almost home. I'm less than 100 miles away. Today it's all green. Instead of 2.5 hours, GPS is saying an hour and 20 minutes. The tornado up north is pretty much dead, but there were still a lot of storms. And not to mention a cold front in Georgia. Spring has sprung and come and went. And yesterday it was a cold front, but today it's a little bit warmer. When I finally got home, the skies cleared up as if to say, you passed. I can't believe I actually did it. Crossed America there and back. It may have taken me longer than I planned, and I may have encountered many more issues than I expected, but I did it. It made me think about all the people saying, this bike is too big for me, I shouldn't be riding it, and how the majority of people just give up. They stay in that job they hate, they stay in that marriage they're barely tolerating, and live depressed and angry and think it's normal. How many businesses haven't been built because someone thought their goal was only for the lucky ones? How many soulmates will never meet because someone stayed in that miserable relationship instead? If I can ride across the country, make a job riding motorcycles, and marry my dream guy, so can you. 6 weeks and almost 10,000 miles later, for just the specific routes and locations and more that I've seen across all my road trips, check out Motorcycle Destinations, which I've partnered with other YouTubers to create. I'm gonna show you all the things that I used on this road trip that really helped me out and how it held up across all these miles and storms. Some of these are sponsored affiliates or none of the above, and pretty much a couple days after I left on my trip, I emailed 11 of these brands that I had all the stuff for already and asked them if they wanted to sponsor this trip. So shout out to my sponsors, because this trip literally wouldn't have been possible for me to do. All right, I'll show you everything now. So I got the Lone Rider bags. Had one there, because the owner of my Triumph shop actually had them too, and he goes on a cross-country trip every year and he swears by them. I wanted soft over hard bags because of all the conveniences that people say for hard bags. The one thing that made it a bad idea for me was that you can break your leg, so I went soft for that reason. My crash protection from SW Motec took so many spills. Handguards work great. After a ton of drops, if you can see here, there's a little bit more room here than there is now here, but this is after like half a dozen drops, so I'm impressed. I think the only thing was that my rear brake lever bent after like drop number 12, and it was a very specific drop. It was a drop you'll see in my 100 bike lifts challenge coming up soon. The seat I had before this was a faux sheepskin, and after about 3,000 miles it flattened out. They said I could fluff it up again, but I never got it to fluff up again, so this really worked great. Dual sport helmet wasn't ideal for as much highway riding as I was doing, so I really recommend just the street helmet, because this right here would give me a headache, and sure, I could take it off, but then this visor with the nose bridge doesn't fit a pin lock, so I would have some fogging issues at some point. But I'm definitely keeping this helmet because I am doing some dirt riding now. My Cardo, I've used it over so many road trips, thousands and thousands of miles. I've had this for years and it's been great. I can hear my music and my directions just fine. I do wish it was just a little bit louder because I like to wear earplugs, and that's what makes it a little too quiet on the highway. My brake-free light. So I'm actually home now. I've been home for 4 months, but this edition just came out this week. It used to be only black color, and now you can get it in white, and you can remove it. It just lights up when you're stopping or slowing down, wire-free. My hightail, it's the only thing I've been able to find across literally tens of thousands of miles of road trips that keeps my hair from knotting up. You put your hair in like this little pouch right here. Dash cam front and back, it just turns on as soon as the bike turns on. I didn't set it up. I had my dealership set it up when I sent them all these other road trip accessories, but it has a phone app which makes it great and easy to use. This you'll see about in my road trip to Sturgis video, so hang on tight to hear what this is about. That last shot you saw of me coming home, I actually recreated that. That wasn't from my trip. I recreated that today. That's how I do it. It's see, it's a selfie stick. I've used my 360 across so many miles, It's pretty expensive, so I don't like to use it on the highway because I don't want it to fall off. Editing it can take up a lot of time, so I usually try to just get short clips with that. Quad lock phone mount. I didn't use as much because I was on the highway and there was literally no directions that I needed for hours on end. It was especially good to have my phone right here when I was in small towns. There were a lot of turns, so I could look at where I had to go to. And just make sure you get Quad Lock's vibration dampener. They're one of few companies that make this, and that'll prevent your camera lens from getting ruined with the vibration of your handlebars, which has happened to me, and I had to replace the whole phone. The sunglasses you saw me wearing on this whole trip was another company I reached out to, asked them to be a sponsor. It's the same company that made these flying eyes. So they're originally made for pilots to fit under their headset. So they're super thin and flexible, so it fits really comfortably in your helmet too, if you don't have slots like our eyes have, which not all helmets have them. And they're shatterproof. I already know at least 2 people who've gotten in accidents with glasses. One of the girls ended up with glass in her skull and the other one in her eye. She didn't lose her eyesight, but I mean, she could have. So make sure you have shatterproof glasses. I'll link to it down below. I've got a discount code for you for that one. For my gear, I had the Revit Sans H2O jacket and pants. It has a waterproof layer and a winter layer and a bunch of vents, so I could pretty much use it all seasons. It's okay on the West Coast, but above 80 degrees, it gets warm in high humidity. I'll link to everything down below, and I've got some I have discount codes for you, and I'll make sure to put it there in the description. If you want to see more about the breakdown of the costs of this trip, you can see that on my website. I have a blog post all about that. 6 weeks on the road was a little too long for me, but my next trip that you'll see soon is riding to Sturgis.
These are bald eagle feathers. It's a tail, and they were given to me by Alan Neskahai. He's a Navajo medicine man.
And I've definitely got some more places I want to visit. Maybe I could do a cross-country trip every year. That's what Gordy does, and he's pretty cool.
I have 20 motorcycles.
You have 20?
I had 35.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's
Cool.
why we have a shop. I was hiding it from my wife.
Make sure you don't miss the 7-day cross-country trip through dust storms. You can see that video right over here, and I will see you in the next one.